Mr. Chairman, it's a 6:34. You're live on Tyngsborough TV. Have a good meeting.
Thank you. It is 6:34 on October 12th, 2022. This is the Finance Committee meeting, and I herefore declare the meeting open. First item is citizens' time.
Yes,
Mr. Crawford.
yes, just
Welcome.
hi, everybody. I got a couple of things I'd like to say about a couple of the articles.
Okay.
You're going to be voting on this evening, if that's
Yes.
okay to do that.
Absolutely.
I like to write what I've written, so I don't say anything wrong other than the wrong things I've written. Okay, okay.
Okay.
You're honest. It's a matter of opinion, I guess, Ed, between you and me especially. Article 1 for special town meeting is requesting $50,000 for Winslow School hazardous materials abatement. Unfortunately, there was difficulty with recording the video of the select board October 3rd meeting. I'm not sure everyone realizes that there was no video of that meeting, Zoom or anything.
Really? Okay.
And they've been unable to post it. So I don't know who voted what.
Mhm.
I don't know what the totals were, but we don't know who voted what. On the town meeting webpage is posted right now. It appears that only the $200,000 of free cash to general stabilization was recommended by the select board. That's all. It doesn't show that the $50,000 was recommended or not recommended by the select board. So this is something that Mr. Smith is also some things that we've done on CPC. In the 2021 annual town meeting, voted to spend $56,000 for a public safety building feasibility study, $28K from free cash and $28,000 from Community Preservation Committee. The feasibility study, which was involving the Winslow School. Another sum of $50,000 of Community Preservation Committee funds was voted at the May 2022 annual town meeting for hazardous abatement. And I remember we had that conversation that there was a punch list.
Mhm.
And the conversation kind of went that.
If you want, though, I don't want to interrupt you, but I can explain this whole thing to you.
No,
if you want.
no, if we can finish at the end.
Go right ahead.
That's fine.
You know what you don't know what I'm done to, so you don't know what you're explaining yet. Okay, and you know, the conversation revolved around, we may have to do these hazardous waste abatement things, no matter what we do with the building.
Right.
And so we all agreed that was a good thing to do. So then I also recall that at the September 26th select board meeting that I viewed the video, some select board members suggested that the building be demolished, level the hill, and appoint a committee to decide to do what to do with the parcel.
Mhm.
They said that in the public meeting in September 26th. So I don't know, there's already $50,000 CPC money going to an abatement with a punch list, like I said, of items to be done. And now we're asking for another $50,000 in Article 1. And I don't know what it's for. So no, yeah.
Okay, so basically what happened was, there's another gentleman there now they found way more asbestos than the first person found. So there's 50,000 CPC, and the town wants to put another 55, I think it's gonna go over 100 to get rid of the asbestos. And we're gonna know shortly in the next few days. You know what I mean? So basically, and then the other thing about the tearing down the Winslow School. So basically, in regards to, I heard some chat about that, they're putting it together a committee right now to find out the best use of the Winslow School, whether it be where the safety center is gonna go, the town hall is gonna go, level it out. That's not for me to decide, anybody decide, that's basically the town residents decide. But I did say, if it goes to a historical building, that's fine, we put 50,000 toward the
When
abatement.
did you say this?
It wasn't, I just heard about this today as I'm talking, well, that's the last couple of days. What I basically said though,
To whom?
to Matt,
So this wasn't in a public meeting.
No, I just found this out the last couple of days because I was asking about the warrant articles.
You're talking about a conversation that was not at a public meeting.
No,
What I described to you is at a public meeting, more than one selectman saying they prefer to have it level to the ground.
well, that's
And they said it.
right, but it's not their decision.
Well, I know that.
So that's not their decision to make. It's a townspeople's decision to make.
That they said
Basically.
it, but they said it.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is they're putting together a committee right now to look at the total use of the Winslow School, whether the town, not an individual person, wants to restore it as a, town, some people talking about a town hall, some people talking about a safety building. There's all different scenarios, what they want to do with it. But what I had said was, okay, if you tear that building down, that $50,000 the CPC put in for abatement, the town owes us. Because we can't abate a building.
You haven't said that in a public meeting. You're just saying.
No,
that-
because all I'm
saying
saying,
that was a behind the door.
no, it's not a behind the door conversation, though. You're making it sound like it's conspiracy. All I'm stating is a fact, because I'm just hearing about the committee they're putting together to see what they want to do. But all I said was, just so you know, can I finish?
You can. You gotta let.
Well, I have the floor right now, please.
Oh, you do, okay.
So
So
basically,
basically, usually what happens there,
oh, well, Billy, I'm talking and you're interrupting. So basically, all I basically said was,
if you're talking about things that was not done in a public meeting, I don't think you should even be talking about it.
Bill, you brought it up and asked the question.
I'm not what you're talking about.
What do you want to talk about? All I stated, but let me finish. All I stated was a fact. When I was told that the permanent committee to see about the Winslow School. And Article 1 is for abatement for asbestos. And I said, just so, when I talked to Matt, I said, just so you know, Matt, when that building is decided what it's gonna be done with, if that building gets leveled, then that $50,000 of CPC put in out of town funds for historical preservation has to be paid back to the CPC. That's protecting the taxpayers. That's protecting the people, Billy. If you were on CPC, you would say the same
I
thing.
don't need you lecturing me, Ed.
I'm not lecturing you, Billy.
You're lecturing me.
I'm just
I
telling
don't
you the
need it.
truth.
I don't need to hear all that.
I don't need to hear you come in here and say I'm doing a backdoor thing either, Billy.
Well, you are,
How is that a backdoor?
because this is not posted online what that $50,000 is for.
It says
No
abatement.
citizen can even find out what you're talking about right now. That's what I was talking about. The video's not posted. Nobody can see it. It's not listed in any of the conversation, any of the dialogue that you can find out what that 50,000 is for. That's why I'm here at. Of course, I don't want you wasting $50,000.
Of course.
But you're talking about things that nobody else even knows about right now.
Well, that's why they're talking about it here, in open meeting.
I know, good thing I came tonight because it might not have been
Yeah,
discussed.
you didn't have to come. It's gonna be discussed. Everything was gonna be discussed with all the members.
Maybe.
Oh, come on, Billy. Everything's conspiracy, Billy. Everything's a conspiracy.
It should be with you.
Oh, we know who the conspiracy
Because
theorists
you're
are.
looking over your shoulder at you.
Stick with the citizens' time.
I tried
No, go continue, please.
and I got blindsided. Article 11. And you can smirk. Can we get some information posted on that article in the line so people know what the $50,000 is for? Currently, there's nothing there. It says $50,000 for abatement for some reason. There's none of what he described except to you.
Right.
So it should be posted online so people know what that's for.
Just to clarify, the extra 50,000 is if we are going to need it. We don't know yet. The consultant is looking at the building right now. He told us he's finding more hazardous materials in the previous company in 2018. So we may want to ask for even more money. He just finished his work today. He should have the quantities to us this week so we can send it to one of the subcontractors who does this type of work so they can refresh the quote. So we'll know by the end of this week, whether we have enough money or not, or whether we're gonna need more money. It's really a separate issue from the CPC funds and the 50,000. I mean, because if we, don't tear the building down, we're not gonna have to pay that back. So in the future, if there's funding to tear down that building, I think at that time, we'll also allocate funding to pay back the CPC, but the 50,000 that we put in here on the warrant was a placeholder in case we're gonna need it, because the consultant's telling us I'm finding more than your study from 4 years ago. So that's really the only reason the placeholder is there, is because the consultant told us we may want to plan for it.
The reason I came tonight is because none of that information is available to the public right now on that video, because there was no video for the selectmen that night. There's no dialogue of any of that, or hearing any of that in that.
Right.
That's why I came tonight, because I couldn't get the information on the video there. There's no information for the public, like residents like me, to know what you guys are talking about until tonight. And I had no assurance it was going to be brought up tonight, because if you go look, the selectmen voted, they recommended $200,000. They didn't recommend $250,000. When you show that, it says $200,000 recommended 400. No mention of the $50,000 anymore.
Oh, yeah, that needs to be corrected. I think that's.
I know, but I emailed you and asked you,
Yeah.
and I didn't get a response from you, Matt.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it. I've been in meetings all day.
I know, but I didn't know what, but you have waited, it's been since last Thursday. So I was waiting to get it from you. I didn't get it from you, and it wasn't on the video. So I didn't know what was gonna happen. So that's why I came tonight.
That's fine, Billy.
Okay. Talking about conversations, not public, that's not why I'm here tonight. Okay, that's not why I came. Better understanding of that now? If you look at the website right now, you'll see the vote, 200,000, no mention the 50 was approved by the selectmen or not, recommended by the selectmen or not. Next one, Article 11. Ask for another legislative special act that would establish the Department of Public Works. Recently, Town Administrator Hanson made a quote that something like a special act trumps all other local laws. Our current town engineer, I assume, would be recommended as the new Department of Public Works supervisor. The town engineer was an assistant in Bedford. So I'm asking, what is the prerequisite managerial experience to be a superintendent of public works? So I go look it up. Section 2 of the special act says the superintendent shall be a person specially fitted by education, training, and previous experience to perform the duties of the office. So I'm just asking the finance committee to consider that this evening when they make their decision about how they vote on Article 11. The other comments I have is, will there be a pay increase? Department of Public Works supervisor with increased responsibilities would need additional administrative help and likely do less actual engineering duties. Additional costs can surely be expected. Hard economic times are a-coming. Additionally, at the March 27, 2018 annual town meeting, an attempt to institute a charter form of government did not pass. The Charter Commission insisted that special acts for town manager and the supervisor of public works would be beneficial. To my knowledge, Town Administrator Hanson still has not officially received the title of town manager by the state legislature. In my opinion, the townspeople should be given the time to adjust to a new town manager powers before handing over the reins to another strong department manager. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Review and approve meeting minutes.
I emailed them out, right?
Yeah, you're actually pretty quick.
Yes, right after the meeting.
Nothing before I even got home, I got the minutes.
When was the last one?
The first one,
No, it was right after the meeting. And
right at the town meeting.
Oh, right after the town meeting.
Right, I think I was driving home, I got.
Yeah, it's that night.
Okay,
Yeah.
I saw there maybe was another one.
Nope.
No.
I missed it.
Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding those minutes?
I thought they were fine.
Of course I did.
No vested interest in that.
Thanks.
All right.
What was the date, everyone?
Thank you, Billy. Take care.
Have a good night.
What's the date on that?
You have the date on those minutes for?
I'll look them up. When was the last? It was the town meeting?
No, we had a meeting after.
Yeah, it was right after that.
A meeting when we talked about appointments to
Right.
committees.
Right.
Mhm. Wasn't it
Oh,
July?
I'm checking on June 8th.
July?
Michelle, I can make a motion to approve the minutes for June 8th.
You want to hear a second?
I will second the motion.
All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes of the June 8th meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that's unanimous. Item 4 on our agenda is discussion and approve the recommendations for the warrant articles for the October meeting. Let's just get through this. What we want to do is, if you want, we can read the entire article. I've sent these out to you previously, so I'm assuming everybody has had a chance to
Right.
read them. I do have, and in your packet today, there's the explanation that will appear in the town warrant for each of the articles,
Right.
in case there's any confusion about what's being said there.
Right, so I mean, on Article 1, I know we just talked about Article 1.
Yes.
So basically, so basically, when I saw these articles about a week and a half ago online, I actually called and talked to Matt, I saw a $50,000 abatement. Abatement, I knew what it was because CPC approved $50,000 for abatement because the asbestos in the building, no matter what we do with the building, it has to be abated.
Exactly.
Before somebody goes in to work on it, so the faster we get it abated, the better we can do with it. And I said to him, I said, Matt, we've already put $50,000. Did you forget that? And he said, no, but we have somebody going in now and they're finding a lot more.
Right.
And that's what that $50,000, we won't know for a couple of weeks. So it wasn't a conspiracy. I didn't do a backdoor deal.
Yeah.
I just saw the $50,000 abatement. I wanted to know what it was for. I thought we'd already paid $50,000.
Yeah.
But of course, it's gonna be over. And supposedly in that, they're finding usually like lead paint buildings, they can be sent to an incinerator that specializes in burning lead paint.
Mhm.
Well, this building has so much lead paint on it, you can't even send it to one of those incinerators.
Really?
So yes, which I never knew. I'm finding out, because I'm just being part of CPC and finance.
Yeah.
We have to know what this is gonna cost us.
Yeah.
And the earlier we know these things, the better we all are. So that's just my take on that. 'Cause I did a little research. I didn't do any backdoor.
Yep. No, it's-
You know what I mean? It wasn't any backdoor. I was just trying to be ready for tonight, so I kind of knew what was going on.
Was the lead paint mainly in the inside?
Yes.
Yes.
And-
I saw it.
Yeah, and I never knew that, but they have incinerators that actually burn it. They can do that legally, but I guess it's so thick from so many years
Yeah.
Mhm.
that some of these companies won't take it. And there's gonna be something else done with it.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny, when I bought my first house, I think about 30 years ago, I found a can in the basement. It was called white lead, you know, and
No hiding it, huh?
it was a can of paint, you know, best paint you can have. It'll
No, it's
last.
true. It lasts.
It is the best paint you'll ever have. Just don't eat it.
We'll try to obey it.
Yes, I try to abate it, right.
All right, any other comments on Article 1? A motion,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Article 1 as written.
we get a second?
Second.
Second from Marie. Okay, all those in favor of approving Article 1, transfer funds from free cash as written, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Hearing none, I hear that's unanimous. 0-0. Article 2, the sewer enterprise fund retained earnings transfer. The town will vote to transfer a sum of $78,525 from the sewer enterprise fund earnings to the sewer enterprise fund capital line for fiscal year 23, be expended by the sewer commissioners for the purpose of purchasing 3 pump station grinders. Taking action relative there too.
That's just the grinders for the pump stations.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, that comes out of the enterprise fund.
Anybody have any comments, concerns,
No.
discussion items there? I think it's relatively straightforward.
Yep.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to pass Article 2 is written.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Ed, motion by Larry. All those in favor of approving Article 2 as written, signify by saying aye. Opposed? That's 500. All right, number 3 is the zoning bylaw amendments and recodification.
Larry, you probably speak, you're on that zoning bylaw committee, are you?
I am. And this is, so the zoning laws of Tyngsborough are being redone, and what the group did is they broke it up into 2 phases. The first phase was simply to take the book as written and reorganize it.
Okay.
And make minor changes such that language didn't contradict other language in the book. There are, at this point in time, there are no changes to any of the zoning bylaw. It's just a reorganization of it. For the next town meeting, those will be all the proposed changes. But the hope of that committee was that this part, we were trying to make this super simple just so we could get it through the town.
Yeah.
To have the book reorganized and presented in a way where it's easy for someone to understand. And that's really all that's been done. So this is kind of halfway through a project, and this really should be the simple half. I should
So after if we reorganize it this time, and potentially if there are changes to the zoning rules, the zoning bylaws next time, would we have to bring that up to a vote again to the town?
yes.
Okay, so my only concern with this one, and my only confusion with this one, I should say, is where it says recodification, where I thought we should have just said bylaw amendments and reorganization, so that it's clear that we're just trying to reorganize the bylaws, not change the
This is
codification of them.
they're going to be changed.
Yeah.
Or it's our hope to change them.
Right, but
you
right
know,
now it's just a reorganization.
or modify some of them to make them contemporary and to make them,
Yeah.
better fit, our current year. But
I think some of the word changes it's instead of saying board of selectmen in a lot of them, it says select board.
Yeah,
So
it's-
logistically, it is a change to the bylaw,
it's
which is crazy.
it's the spirit of what every bylaw says remains intact.
Okay,
So that's, and that would be an example of a change from selectman to selectman.
Right.
But that's really all there's to it, and I would certainly make a motion to pass that
okay. Anybody else have any
as written.
comments or concerns about that issue, of this article? All right, good. Article 3, zoning bylaw amendments and recodification. Can I get a motion?
Motion approved, Article 3 as written.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Marie. All those in favor of Article 3, zoning bylaw amendments and recodification, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None, hearing none. I say that is a 500. Pardon me. Article 4, the zoning bylaw amendment for signs. Anybody want to read this?
No.
Good, thank you.
And I can explain where it came from.
Good.
I was on the zoning committee for zoning for 5 years and chair for a few. And one of the within the last year of the meeting, do you know what Top Line Granite is?
Yes.
Cross Street is self-storage facility.
Yeah.
Their building's at like a 45 degree to the street.
Yeah.
And they wanted one sign at this angle and one sign at this angle.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I actually voted for it. But it was a majority vote, supermajority, it needed 4 votes, it failed 3-2. So, because you can only do one sign.
Right.
And to me, that's where this is, because this now is changing from 1 sign to 2.
Potentially 2 signs, right?
Right. And they're doing a 30% increase,
Right.
because we had a lot, where it all stemmed from was Middlesex Road. Because of the size of the buildings going down Middlesex Road. Like the ones we gave Top Line Granite variance, they were, way over the 30%. But that building is rare because the thing is huge. If they conform to the size of the sign that's allowed in the town of Tyngsborough, you wouldn't be able to see it. It'd be small. And The other one was, before I left, was Federal Carpet.
Mhm.
They want a new sign. Their sign was bigger than the zoning bylaws apply. But that's, so if you look at the new sign, it doesn't look gaudy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks fine for the size of the building.
Right.
So I think that's why they're adding these, that's the reason I'm looking at why they're doing that, is for those two particular reasons.
Right, and there's something, okay, sorry.
So I was gonna say, the one other minor change is from variance to special permit, because it gives the board a little bit more flexibility. I think the issue with some of the members before was they didn't necessarily think it was a bad idea to approve the sign, but they just didn't feel like it met the variance criteria. Special permit is discretionary for the board if you feel like it's appropriate for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Variances are really supposed to be reserved for, you know,
Right.
issues outside of anyone's control. So by making that change, combined with the size and number,
Yeah.
addresses all
Those
the
issues. And I think one of the big one was the building, Nick, is, you know, I voted for, I didn't think it wouldn't have looked bad, it wouldn't have looked awkward and blocky. You know what I mean, and it's a big building, and I think Middlesex Road is where it's happening, because you don't see it anywhere else done, that, it seems like all the issues around that area, which we've been trying to develop Middlesex Road. That's been our talk for how long, everybody's saying this is what we need in town, we need more business down Middlesex Road. Big business, and it's gonna help our tax base.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that appeals to me within this article is that the zoning board can make their decision based on traffic, safety, you know, any number of
Right.
other things. So that not everybody automatically is gonna increase their signage by 30%.
Right,
It's gonna be subject to some oversight.
and top line grant was, I think, if I remember, it was like 80%.
Well,
It was a, you know, it was a
Yeah.
2 or 3 meeting fight on that one. But, you know, the building's gigantic, and we've all seen the sign on the side of the building, it doesn't look horrible,
no,
you know what I mean?
right,
And the guy, you know, he invested millions and millions and millions of dollars in the town.
show for that power source.
Oh, man, like that. Yeah, all that money in the town, and you want to see him be able to succeed with a nice sign.
Sure. Any other comments about anybody? All right. Hearing none.
Shall I make a motion to approve Article 4 zoning bylaw amendment as written?
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mazursky. All those in favor of Article 4 zoning bylaw amendment signs, signify by saying aye. Opposed? 5-0-0. Article 5 is accept Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 22, Second G, for disabled veterans real estate tax exemptions. As I read this, you know, veterans already get real estate or are already eligible for real estate tax exemptions. This just extends that in the event that their houses or their residence is in a trust or any kind of similar entity. So if their legal ownership is been transferred to something like a trust or entity, it would still make them eligible for a real estate tax exemption. That seems, I mean, it's a common estate planning tool that people do, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. Discussion, comments, anybody? I think it's straightforward. All right, can I get a motion for Article 5?
I need a
Master General
motion.
Laws?
To accept Article 5 as written.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, it's a second by Mr. Clausen. All those in favor of Article 5, accepting Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 22, Second G, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0-0. Article 6 is the Tyngsborough Affordable Housing Trust. This is the establishment of the Tyngsborough Affordable Housing Trust. And there's a bunch of language in here about the composition of that board, the appointment of the trustees, powers of the trustees. The explanation for this, if you've read it, it's pretty clear. Just read it behind this. We will not bother reading all of it. Comments, questions, concerns?
No, I mean, we had a trust in town a long time ago.
Yeah.
That, I don't know if you guys remember, you probably remember, didn't really work out that well.
Well, because they didn't do it right.
Yes,
Why?
exactly,
You know?
and we had a meeting, a CPC meeting, where we put money, to move money around, and a lot of us that are on that board remember the problems with the last affordable housing trust. We spent a lot of time
Yeah.
asking a lot of questions how this was gonna be run, because we're gonna be setting aside funding. You know, you see another article, will explain it, but yeah, I have faith in this, this affordable housing trust. It's gonna be set up a lot better than
Yes.
the way the last one was. We're actually meeting now, a few doors down.
Motion to approve Article 6, Town Bylaws for Tyngsborough Affordable Housing Trust.
Should I like a motion to approve Article 6, Tyngsborough Affordable Housing Trust as written?
And a second.
I will second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving Article 6, Town General Bylaws, Tyngsborough Affordable Housing Trust as written, signify by saying aye. Opposed? None. That is a 500. Article 7. Send the prior funding authorization to the Community Preservation Fund.
I can explain that.
Yes.
I can explain this one to you too.
Please
So,
do.
so
Thank you.
basically what happened was, I don't know if you guys know Indian Road,
Yes.
there's that house there. So they're trying to get it from the state. The state is supposed to give us the house. They've already agreed everything. They're just waiting to do the final paperwork, which has been taken out forever. Yes. So a town, exactly, right. So a few years ago, a town meeting, CPC authorized $250,000 to the Tyngsborough Housing Authority. So when they get possession of the house, to restore the house and make it affordable housing. And we met at a CPC meeting with affordable housing. John Peltier is on board. He's one of the members, and the Affordable Housing Trust. They want to move the money, that $250,000 to the trust, so that now when the state gives us that building, it'll go to the Affordable Housing Trust.
Right.
And then they'll control the $250,000 to rebuild it. And we talked to the housing authority and they're fine with that. But the only thing is, we can't just move the money internally from the
Right.
housing authority who has control of it to the housing trust. We have
Because it
to,
was approved at the time.
that's right. So we have to legally rescind it first, then you see the next article, we just put it back.
Yes.
So it's gonna be two votes, one to rescind it, one to put it back, and all that's gonna happen at town hall is the wording with who the money is controlled by.
Yes.
And then we also said at CPC that, you know, that money will be expended when the building is purchased towards that specific building. I know that Affordable Housing Trust has money in their account right now. The money won't go into their account to use, it'll be just held specifically for that single project. I don't want just to come on with their funds, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want to make sure it stayed with that particular building.
right.
That's how the townspeople wanted it.
Any other comments?
I assume this says we already voted 5-0 on this. Is that supposed to be CPC?
Nice. We're gonna vote now, right? We're all done.
All right, we'll skip the next one too.
How about we do it anyway, though?
Yeah.
All in favor?
PowerPoint is in draft format.
Can I get a motion for Article 7 to rescind the prior funding authorization, Community Preservation Committee Fund as written?
So moved.
So moved. Can I get a second?
Second,
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor of approving Article 7, rescind prior funding authorization, Community Preservation Committee Fund, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None, that's 500, just as it's printed.
We have no choice but to vote that way, because you would make
Right.
you make this wrong, and then you have to start it.
Yeah, we put them, what's the money on paper?
We always have a choice. So that leads us right into Article 8, the appropriation for the Community Preservation Fund. And you've already explained the 250, which is the big piece of that.
Right.
Anything to be said about the 3,000 for the weed control and the other 25,000?
Well, basically what happened, the 3,000 was supposed to be earmarked in the spring for their treatment.
Yep.
And what happened was, I'm not gonna say, but it didn't make the warrant article.
Okay.
Something happened and that made the warrant article, so it's just getting put in. Usually that article is put in the spring.
Yep.
For the treatment, and when they came looking for the money in July, we're like, oh, it was like, oh, sorry, it was approved, yes, but it never made It was a typo, didn't get made, no, so now I'm putting it there now, so they'll have the funding, and they'll probably come back in the spring.
Mhm.
Another $25,000 is for, we're establishing a Tyngsborough land trust. So they know the CBC, because we have a lot of open space in Tyngsborough.
Yeah.
And by law, we have to have a governing body, because the town of Tyngsborough, it cannot legally hold deed restrictions on land.
Mhm.
What the state wants to do is they want a specific trust to hold those deeds. They don't trust the town to hold the deeds,
Sure.
the property that's really owned by the taxpayers.
Mhm.
So we have to, and then there's, we looked at, there's probably 100 pages, and you gotta hire lawyers. All the articles gotta be written. You have to have, members
So this is the
elected
funding to
members
be able to do that.
to do, the lawyers and
Accounting.
accounting, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And that's just the start. I mean, they may need more, then once they're established, they can take donations. So if people have land, they can donate directly, and people will feel more comfortable.
Yep.
Donating to a land trust
Right. And
compared
just to
to
the town.
just saying to the town, here, this is your land.
Yeah.
At least with a trust, they can say, listen, I want this deeded this way, as this is how it has to stay.
Yeah. All right. That's a good explanation. Any other questions? All right, Article 8, Appropriation Community Preservation Committee Fund. Can I get a motion?
So move.
So moved. Second? Second by Marie. All those in favor of Article 8, Appropriation Community Preservation Committee Fund, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's 500. Article 9, the Town General Bylaws Solicitor Registration. So this is a now registration requirement for for-profit entities that want to do door-to-door solicitation in Tyngsborough. Doesn't affect not-profits or political organization or civic organizations. Any comments or questions on that article?
I'm all for it.
I have no qualms about that. I think it makes sense. I particularly like the fact that somebody, if they're going to be doing solicitations and they're registered with the town, that they have to wear
A badge,
a name tag.
Yes, I
that
saw
says
that.
that. So somebody comes to your house, they've been vetted by the police.
Yeah.
All right, Article 9, Town General Bylaws Solicitor Registration. Do I have a motion? Move Article 9 as written.
So move.
So move. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Clausen.
Actually, question, was there a penalty for not?
Yes,
$100 first offense.
yes.
Okay.
And then $200. $200. Yes.
Okay, $200 first offense.
It's not really good enough, but okay.
Well, the real penalty is that they can not issue you a solicitor permit in the future. That's the real potential
that's the
penalty, like.
Stick they hang over you.
Yeah, it should be trespassing. But anyway,
We've already voted on this too.
we're good.
Also, one of the things that's in this that's interesting is if you can put up a no solicitor sign in your yard, or you can be on a no solicitation list within the town. And the solicitors would have to respect that, to your point of no trespassing,
Do we have such a list?
I think it's being created through this.
Correct.
Oh, that's,
We'll start tracking moving forward if this
Yeah.
passes.
put me on.
All right, Article 9. Do I have a motion from Ed? Do I have a second?
I will second.
All right, a second by Mr. Pazerski. All those in favor of Article 9, Town General Bylaw Solicitor Registration, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. That is 500. Number 10. The Town General Bylaw Amendment for the regulation of dogs. We have some discussion on this item.
So here, what immediately jumped in my head when I saw this as being on the Finance Council is
Committee.
committee, is this just has nothing to do with anything financial, nothing. It is irrelevant to this committee.
Yes.
So, and, we'll all vote the way we feel we should as members of the town, and that's fine. But as far as the committee goes, I would suggest that we may want to consider just all abstaining, because this is,
It's not a finance implication.
it's irrelevant to what we do.
Is there a liability to the town if one of these free roaming dogs bites somebody? hey, that's fine.
Well, we're not saying it's fine, we'll vote.
We'll still
To
vote.
Larry's point, we'll all vote on it. Yay,
We
nay, at the
still
town
have to
meeting, but-
vote because there's a fee to register your dog, there's a penalty if you don't register on time and.
But that
so
exists
that's the
already,
kind of-
right?
Right, yeah, but it's, and now we're adding, first offense after warning, $25, second offense, $50.
That's all there.
So, yeah, but no, I mean, but there is a finance which actually, affects the budget. So,
Well,
and that's the only
I see what you're
reason.
saying.
It's not the laws, but it's the,
The money that comes
the
in
money
from
that
all.
comes in.
but
That's why.
That's a good point.
I would second what Larry is saying in that I understand that there are some financial implications for registering your dog, for licensing, for violations. But this bylaw doesn't address any of that.
Right.
This bylaw just merely extends the period when dogs can run free
This is
24/7.
This is asking if a dog is legally required to be leashed at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Right.
probably a pretty good idea to have your dog on a leash at 2 o'clock in the morning, but it's not, it just doesn't relate to this committee at all.
We can certainly put up to a vote. I mean, there's no, I'm not gonna tell anybody that we should all abstain or we should all vote for it, but I think it's up to us to decide whether we want to vote for this article or not.
I mean, I think we like maybe have a straw vote. If we decide to vote for, we all vote, or will we decide to all abstain, we all abstain. I think we just try to stay on the same page, all of
The
us.
select board.
I know, I'm gonna vote while I'm up there.
Right, the select board voted 202, so 2 in favor,
To
0 against, and 2 abstained. So there was some precedence for abstaining from this issue.
Right.
I would, any other comments on this, Scott?
Is there any reason anybody would be against this? Like,
I mean,
what's the controversial part of this? I don't.
I think the controversial part is just, not being told what to do.
And I mean, Billy had raised this as an issue, saying that now you're bringing the Chelmsford dog officer in, who doesn't really know us, and further restricting, putting more restrictions on dogs.
And we're still a small town and,
But it's only an issue if it wanders into somebody else's yard.
right.
Like nobody's,
Not disagreeing with you.
I don't get,
I don't believe that there's any responsible dog owner in town that would think it would be a good idea to say, oh, it's 9 or 9:30, okay, Fido,
Go turn my dog.
out you go,
always
and
wonder about that.
Be back by
and
7.
be back by 7 in the morning, because the leash law is gonna start, and we don't want you to get in trouble now. Of course, you can get, hit by a car, eaten, or whatever, so, yeah, so there's no, my point is, it's just not, our hope is that people will look to the Finance Council for advice on financial matters that, where they can get leadership.
Yes.
And, we're here to try and do our best to understand things, as best we can to provide that leadership. And to kind of shift that into, we're going to provide leadership on whether or not a dog should be on a leash at 2 o'clock in the morning. It just seems like it's not our thing.
Right.
And and so far, I think it's great that everyone has voted. So before I was on the Finance Committee, it was always confusing to me, especially when I was new here, to go to town meetings. And you'd have these votes that are 3-2, where there isn't really, you don't really know because you haven't followed it, as a townsperson, and you're looking at the boards and you're saying, okay, well, what do they say? I'm going to follow them. And if they don't have a clear position, it just makes your life a little bit more difficult. So we're not going to all agree on everything all the time, but it is probably easier for the townspeople if we agree on most of the stuff most of the time.
Yes, I'm always surprised when you have a split vote like that someone doesn't, townsperson doesn't say, well, explain me both sides why you guys didn't all agree.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to happen lately.
a lot of times they'll ask who voted against
Yeah,
and why.
Yes.
right.
So like, if everybody was for this, it would be a show of support. which,
Mhm.
yes, not a purely financial matter, but
I mean, I'm voting yes. I mean, if we have all saying, yeah, I'm voting yes with my vote, and it'll see it. You know what I mean?
Let's put it up to a vote.
voting on this, we're voting.
Yes, if we're gonna vote on it, we're gonna vote.
Well, no, I mean, we're gonna vote,
Oh.
but you, whether it's for as written, against as written, or abstain, we can do that.
So the motion could be the same, the motion to recommend the article, and it could be 1 yes, 3 abstentions, 1 no, or 1 yes and 4 abstentions, or all abstentions. You could just make the same motion, it won't really matter, in my opinion.
Okay,
But I think what I was trying to say, and I probably, and we, to plus to say altogether as the board, I mean, we all, I mean, I'm just looking for that opinion. Do you think we should all vote on it? You know what I mean? Or should we abstain just because it's not a financial?
All right, let me start here, and I know, am I allowed to ask if there's anyone here who believes that dogs should be, is there anyone here who is against this? Okay, so the only, so either we're going to vote for it, or we're gonna vote to abstain.
It's gonna be 504 or we abstain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's make a motion. Can I make a motion pass Article 10 as written?
so one question, like, is there any sort of precedent on prior finance committees over the years of abstaining, like, in mass over articles like this?
Oh, yeah, I mean, each community does it a little different. Some communities are very strict if it has to have a literal dollar impact, very direct, and they'll vote on it. But a lot of communities look at that more broadly and may say, well, this may have some effect on liability for the town, or almost anything you could argue has some type of financial impact. In Tyngsborough, there's more of a history of voting on almost everything, but I think there's been an occasion here or there where they've said, this is like a purely political, but usually you vote. And the selectmen are the same way. I think those two selectmen in this particular case said, we have feelings about it, but it's really, this should be up to the townspeople whether they want a leash law or not, and they didn't want to put their will on it. I think that's why the 2 members abstained.
Fine.
So there's really no law either way, or it's really more precedent. Each community's finance committee does it a little different.
Well, then I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of Article 10, general bylaw amendment regulation of dogs, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Well, did we all vote, any abstentions? I heard ayes, hearing nays, did we hear any abstentions? So it's 5-0-0. All right, Article 11, special acts to establish a Department of Public Works. I think you've all had a chance to read this. Any comments or questions on Article 11? Do you want to add any color on this?
I just wanted to note that we've gone back and forth with the sewer commission and their attorney several times finalizing language, and we have a couple minor tweaks. It's really just reformatting and consolidating some sentences. So from what was posted in the warrant to what was, the selectmen are going to recommend a motion at town meeting floor. It's really just clarifying the role of the superintendent and the sewer commission, their advisory role, and then some of the language was repetitive. I think the role of the superintendent was listed in both the sewer commissioners one as well as the 5.2, the role of the superintendent. So that's why we crossed it out and consolidated those 2 crossouts into one sentence now that just says, the superintendent shall serve in an advisory capacity and provide technical assistance to the sewer commission, rather than having that be broken out and then repeated again in his. So it just says at one time, he provides advisory capacity and technical assistance. The main thing that has changed from the charter is that really section 5.1, the sewer commission remains elected, but 2, section 5.1 clarifies that the sewer commissioners are going to remain in control of the enterprise fund, setting the sewer rates, etc. And the goal is really have the DPW superintendent in charge of, maintenance, employees, et cetera.
I thought it was funny, the part that said that in order to disband, the sewer commission has to be a 5-0 vote by the sewer commission to disband themselves.
Unanimous, yeah.
I'm not going without a fight.
Yeah, well, and it has to be a 5-0 vote.
Yeah. I have it's like an anachronism here, but they're advertising in the paper. Is that really worth doing? Like, what's the paper in general circulation? Lowell Sun?
Mhm.
Like, do people actually find this there?
I didn't see that, isn't that a little something?
Apparently, well, it's in 5-1.
We still do it for a lot of our.
Oh,
other
I
boards.
thought they said the sewer commission, but an article.
Well, oh, no. They need to promote their meeting in the Lowell
Right,
Sun,
right.
which just seems old fashioned.
Well,
We do it to like set the tax rate for anything that like is sort of that level of importance, like changing a fee. We usually still do the Lowell Sun. If it's just a public hearing on a discussion topic, we don't have to. There are certain statutory times when we have to for like our regulatory boards. And this is one that I think it's in their current like policies that they're gonna post in the newspaper.
if you're on the agenda for like the conservation or zoning board for the agenda, you have to pay $450
To the Lowell Sun.
to the town for the Lowell Sun ad.
Yeah.
But what happens is, so say you're on the agenda, the first person on the agenda, you pay $450. You write that check. The next person writes $450, but and say there ends up being 5 people. That $450 gets split between the $550, the $450, and you get the money back.
Right.
So you know
Well,
what I mean? That's how that works. So you, and what people say, oh, how many people are on the agenda?
Right. In an advertising sense, that seems like a really poor spend to do the Lowell Sun. Very little impact,
Yes,
a lot of spec.
but it's not advertising, isn't it just meeting your regulatory requirements when you're putting stuff in the Lowell Sun?
Well, is it a state requirement or is it our requirement that we're foolishly spending our money?
I mean, you can look at it as foolishly spending money. I think this is more recognizing that not everybody sees stuff online. There are still people that want to read paper. And I think this is just, until you get the whole world to go online, you're always going to have to be doing some kind of posting in a physical paper or publication.
Same with, just like if they forget to post it on the town hall door,
Mhm.
they gotta cancel the meeting.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't
Right.
cost us much,
No,
but
Yeah.
I don't know.
They
Those-
haven't raised the rates in like 10 years, so it might be once every 5 or so years that they have to have a public hearing, so. And we can do, like, for planning and zoning things, we have to be very specific on what it's talking about. It's a pretty long ad. The ad to hold a hearing to discuss the rates could probably be 1 sentence, so we can probably get that in for like $150 or something. It'd be a lot less expensive than a regulatory board filing for a permit or what zoning bylaws are being changed.
Would it be out of the realm of possibility to do constant contact? We have to reverse 911, like this, it's a poor spend.
We usually do, maybe even more than that. This is sort of just the bare minimum.
No, yeah, that's,
All right. Other comments on Article 11? Hearing none, can I get a motion for Article 11 Special Act to establish a Department of Public Works?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve Article 11, Special Act to establish a DPW as written.
Second?
I'll second.
Scott seconds. All those in favor of Article 11 Special Act to establish a Department of Public Works, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, 500.
Just reading here, right? This is the tweet. Final version.
Yeah.
Last one, Article 12, prior year unpaid bills. We're looking at a whole $175. Get a motion to approve Article 12, prior year unpaid bills. So move, right a second, please. Thank you. All those in favor of Article 12, prior year unpaid bills, signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. That carries. Folks, last item. Sorry, new business. New business items I wish to discuss. I have one. And it's been alluded to by Billy, and I think we've talked about this indirectly. The select board is looking to establish a committee, a broad committee to look at the Winslow property and decide what we want to do with that property. Whether we demolish it, whether we redo it, or something in between there. And so they're looking for somebody from our committee to represent, to be a representative on it. Does anyone have an interest on serving on that Winslow School Building Committee? Not the school building committee, Winslow School Property Committee. Good? What's that?
Well, I was thinking, you know, I was just thinking too, I know they want cross-reference of people. I know Augie's on it from historical.
Okay.
Do we want two from historical on it? Because I myself, I gotta go to CPC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
So,
wouldn't want to be on it.
no, I don't want to be on the CPC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Augie's on it. Is that good to have two historicals on it? You know what I mean? I'm just asking. And I know if anybody knows anything about that building, Marie, it's you. Only I know about it is my grandmother went there. And this is a funny story. I say it a lot. She graduated from there in first grade. And her first grade class was a first class. They walked across the Tyngsborough Bridge when it opened.
Wow.
So that's the story she told, you know what I mean? Yeah, she walked across her first grade school class, walked across the Tyngsborough Bridge when it opened. So,
All right,
and
so
my daughter went there too. My son
we've
did.
got two people on this committee that are interested in representing. this committee.
I'm interested because I, study the history of it,
Right.
Yeah,
and that my husband's family, let's see, his grandmother went there, and that his great grandfather was in the building committee. for the Winslow School. Yeah, so. And then, his father went there, he went there, my kids have gone there.
yeah, I think all of our kids are going there.
I have one.
Yeah.
But,
All right, well, I guess we.
I think them to-
We'll
them
put up
to-
to a vote. Or we could put up to a vote on our committee on who we want to represent us. I don't know that they want two people from our committee.
No, they want one. I
Um,
mean, I think what they said, and like we had talked earlier too, I mean, I'm not sure, I know they talked about the one from CPC, one from historical, one from finance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they said planning board yet.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard.
And I think they said one selectman that's some at large. I don't know who's in charge of how many people.
Right.
Maybe if you've heard.
No, I have not. Are you interested?
I am not interested. So Larry said he's interested, you said you're interested. So that's.
It's-
6-1. We can vote on it and decide. Or I don't know, I could certainly, we could table this. I could ask the select board if they want to have more than one member from the committee. I'm guessing their answer is going to be no, but how do we want to deal with that? Do we want to just take an up and down vote on each?
I mean, I don't have to be on it.
No, but I also don't want to deny you being in it if everybody else feels strongly.
Hard to ask them.
Either that or. Look, I still have to go to CPC to look for somebody to CPC.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Augie would love to do it, but I'm sure he's gonna be historical. From the historical committee on it. So he can't go from both boards. So I know Larry's on CPC, so I can see if maybe Larry could go from CP, that way he could still be on it, I know he wanted to be on it,
And where you from?
and we could still agree up for finance.
Do that. Yeah, my only concern about going back to the select board is if they said, no, we want one, then we would have to reconvene another meeting to vote.
Just for that,
Just
yes,
for that, which I don't really want to do.
exactly. And my feeling about that is now you're gonna have, basically, if you think about it, you're gonna have 2 historical members on that committee and 2 finance committee members on that committee. That's my only concern.
Yeah, Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna have you and Augie from historical, and then you and Larry from finance.
Right.
So does that, how does that look
Yeah.
from the, you know what I mean, from the,
Yeah.
from the townspeople perspective?
Mhm.
That's my only concern.
Well,
You know,
I'll back off, because if I have something to say, I will go to the meeting.
and
And
I
that's
open my
fine.
big mouth.
no, it's not a big, but you voice your opinion. You know, I'm saying, read those, they might look at it as, you got 2 historical members on there, you got 2 finance committee members.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I
fine.
mean?
You're
Where-
over-representing
Right,
committees.
exactly.
Yeah,
You know, because Larry could go on from CPC, but then you still got, now you got 2 finance committee, 2 historical.
all right.
You know what I mean? And it's gonna be an open forum meeting anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
So, you know, and you're probably gonna see, I'm sure you're gonna be there at the meetings anyway, and you're gonna see Joy there. Because Joy, you know, Joy,
No, you won't see Joy.
really?
She's not the one.
No?
Oh, no. That's too bad. I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah, I know, she's awesome, and we missed her at, our meetings.
Oh, that's too bad. I didn't know. I didn't know. Send her my, I hope she's better or whatever's none of my business, but I've always loved Joy. She's awesome.
Yes.
I've always loved talking to her. She's a hot ticket.
Yeah,
And I figured she'd be at those
and
meetings.
she's very, involved in history, not
Yes.
just Tyngsborough, but general history. of
Exactly.
the
You ask her about
United
anything in
States.
the town, she knows that stuff.
Yes.
And actually, did anybody walk by the crypt? I walked by the crypt tonight.
My wife went by there today with Matt, I believe.
Yeah, I'm by there. I came a little early, 'cause I wanted, I know they're doing all that work there. It's coming out really nice.
Good,
And it's cool. You know, I walked inside the crypt once.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's trying to get the garden club in town to make some recommendations about landscaping that.
Yeah.
That path to there, so that would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, developers, the guy's doing a really nice job over there.
Awesome. I'll take a look. All right, so should we take a vote? And because I would like to come out of this meeting with a
Right.
recommendation to the select board. So all in favor of appointing Larry Clausen to that committee, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
All right, so that's a,
Oh, were you the only one running that?
so we can.
Yeah.
say
No,
thanks
just
over-
him.
Just,
Oh, well then, all right, yes.
You don't like me?
Well, I thought you weren't.
No, I'm not.
no, but I would just, I thought about it, if you have 2 boards on there.
Yeah, that's fine. No, you're right.
But I haven't heard how they're gonna I think we should, be nice to get across
Absolutely.
town residents too.
Oh, no, I think
This is
absolutely
the
want to
town,
get some
you know.
at-large members,
Right.
yeah. I'd be
See the
surprised
town,
if they
the
didn't.
more from the town, the better.
Yes,
You know, and I like to see a lot of young people too, you know what I mean? Because it seems like a lot of the boards, it's all of us. And you know what I mean? It's all, I'm not saying that we're old,
okay, all right.
you know what I mean? But it's,
Do we need a motion on that?
I don't know, we need a motion. I don't know, I don't think we need a motion.
I think we do. We
Okay.
When you appoint someone.
Yeah, see a motion.
to
We
Go
will-
in,
let's-
represent.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion
I take it
the
back.
board.
to appoint Larry Clausen to the newly formed Winslow School Committee,
Winslow Property Committee.
Winslow Property Committee.
Second.
Second, okay, so now I have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Carries.
So now I gotta send a thing out to CPs, and I've been
There you go.
sending to CPC.
That's all I got, folks. Do we want to have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have another meeting before the town meeting?
I don't think so. Everything's pretty much all set, right?
right,
Yeah, I think we're all
so-
set.
The only number that might change is gonna be the abatement, he said, because he's waiting for it.
Yeah, he'll get better information within the
Right,
next few
and
days.
then if we have to have a meeting before town meeting,
We can do it just.
We
before
can do it,
the-
Right, exactly.
we can, you know, a half hour before town meeting, that's if we need to adjust that number.
Okay.
I mean, I've never seen numbers come in less. I've never had them say,
Keep
oh
us
yeah,
correct.
it's less than we thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Has that ever happened to you? No.
No, and if it's more than normal.
We have to do it.
And it doesn't use, they don't use all the money, they
Right.
can always.
Like I said, it's a placeholder. It's a
Yes.
placeholder.
placeholder.
It's just to have some money appropriated.
Yeah.
All right.
Because no matter what happens to that building, it has, whether it gets torn down or redone,
Yes,
the abatement has to be
it
done.
has to be done,
It has
yes.
to be done.
Yes.
So
I know you want to stay here, but you got a motion to adjourn?
I said, I made the motion.
Second?
Second.
Done.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're done, folks. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Good night, guys.
Aye.